Good evening and warm welcome to all the participants. We are joined by architect Krishna Murthy garu. Good evening, sir, and welcome to this conversation. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us on this platform. What I will do now is to share a brief introduction of yours, and after that, I'll hand it over back to you for your opening remarks. These are WiseViews leadership conversations, as I mentioned, and this is session number 186. We are fortunate to have leaders like you, sir, who have been supporting us and sharing their wise views on our platform, and because of which we've been able to continue every Friday. And this is 186th Friday where we are assembling to learn and learn from leaders like you. The use of technology in architecture is the topic for the day, and this will be led by architect Krishna Murthy garu. He is the founder, Folds Design Studio, Navi Mumbai. So this introduction and sir's opening talk will be for about 25 minutes or so, all put together. And then we have about 40 minutes of Q&A, roughly about an hour or so. So this is architect Krishnamurthy. He is the founder and principal architect of Folds Design Studio, which is based in Navi Mumbai, as I mentioned. In his career spanning more than 25 years, he has focused on redefining the discourse of contemporary architecture, pushing the boundaries of digital design and fabrication. From humble beginnings, he has used years of experience and research to make the studio grow exponentially, establishing itself as a powerhouse of design and fabrication excellence, housing a team of architects, designers, and skilled artisans. He is dedicated to building designs that epitomize excellence, sustainability, and the perfect union of AI, 3D modeling, and research. Wonderful. In his practice, architect Krishnamurthy has also pioneered the use of 3D printing to bring complex geometries and advanced fluid forms to life, not just as molds, but as final, fully finished products. His explorations span a wide range of scales, from intricate miniature 2-inch furniture prototypes to monumental 30-feet fluidic columns. He has leveraged materials such as PLA, PETG, ABS, and concrete. All these we'll understand as we get into the topic, adapting each to suit different project requirements and pushing the boundaries of what can be achieved with these technologies. His work includes creating luminaires, furniture pieces, facade details, molds, prototypes, and other non-structural architectural elements, demonstrating a versatile approach to 3D printing. He graduated in 1997 from Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Architecture. Great, sir. Once again, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Yeah, I will take one more minute to introduce my esteemed colleague, Dr. Prasad. He is the Senior Director at the Academic Wing in ICFAI Group. He brings about 3 decades of rich experience to the table as an entrepreneur, as an academic, and also as a corporate professional. He holds BTech from IIT Bombay and PGDM from IIM Kolkata. Welcome, Dr. Prasad. Thank you so much. So over to you, sir. We are quite excited. As we mentioned in the beginning, this is a territory that we have never touched upon. In the sense, to me and to Dr. Prasad, this is new. But to our listeners and learners, I'm sure this is quite familiar. And they are all here to learn from you. And we are also here to learn from you. Thank you very much, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, all. Good evening, everyone. So I'll share my screen immediately so that we don't waste too much amount of time. Okay. So today we all are here. We have joined this session just to understand how technology is something which is getting used today in a large scale in the field of architecture, and which is necessary also, because that's something which we all need to take forward. I think without understanding technology, I think it's very difficult for us to grow further in the field of architecture today. Unfortunately, in the education system, I think there are a lot of litigations, a lot of problems in terms of working with technology, especially with the machines that we are looking at today. Softwares and all, I think to some extent colleges are adopting them, but we are not into working with tools such as machines. So there are multiple machines which are available today in the field of architecture as well, the way they are available in the automobile industry, the way they are available in the aeronautic and your defense industry. Especially in the mechanical industry, it is used on a larger scale. So, but in India today, in the field of architecture, I think we're all missing, many of us are missing in terms of understanding how these tools can guide us, help us design and build our projects. So, so that they can be built very easily. One, and whatever designs that we're looking today as the complex geometries that are getting developed using computational tools in the field of architecture, to build them, these are the tools which really help us build them. So quickly, what I'll try and show you is how and what are these tools that we're trying to work with today. So this There are multiple tools. This is one of the tools which is water jet. I think water jet is something which many people know today that this is used in the industry of, I mean, in the mechanical industry where they cut metal. But in our field, in the field of architecture, there are multiple materials that we try and use. And what are these materials? These materials are like metal, stone, wood, solid surfaces, ply, concrete blocks, bricks, MDF, glass, and many more, I think, right? So these are the materials that we are all looking at today in the field of architecture that can be used properly to the designs that we are trying to do. So in this case, the water jet machine really helps. This machine is like a monster actually. So this machine can cut up to 200 metal and it can cut up to 300 to 500 stone. So that's the kind of a tool this is today. But this thing is completely a two-dimensional tool. Okay, so it's completely a two-dimensional and it cuts with water and using garnet as a sand particle. So all the water and the sand particle pass through a nozzle of 0.3 thin pore, which is inside the nozzle, which is fixed on the head of the water jet machine. So there is a pump. What we also see is there is a pump inside this along this machine, which actually takes care of the pressure. So we all need to understand that how this tool can help us out in terms of building things. So what are the kind of things that you can build using this machine? So what we have done is we have designed a swimming pool. Let us say this is a project that we have done in the outskirts of Bangalore. So this is a 20,000 square feet of a pool space that was designed. Keeping in mind the economics, that's one. Second, keeping in mind the design. So in this case, what have we designed is what have we executed using this tool is those details that you're trying to see around the pool, right? The cosmic patterns that we try to create, which are basically spill off the water droplets come falling from the pool, basically. The intention was that. So all these cosmic patterns that we have designed using tiles, your local stone, that is Jaisalmer, then Kadapa and granite, and a mix of glass mosaic tiles to create this kind of a design. So what happens is when you're trying to use this tool at your place, the cost of execution of the project becomes very economical. That is something which we also need to understand. So it is not an easy task to actually use the tool, but yes, if you understand them better, it becomes much easier because these tools understand a certain kind of a language, and that language is generated using CAD/CAM softwares. And these CAD/CAM softwares are really not tough to learn today because these are the software which actually communicate with the machine. The drawings that we try to do in our softwares are dumped into the CAD/CAM tools, and the CAD/CAM tools generate an NC file, which actually the further note they cut and then they produce these kind of designs. Okay, what else have we done is there is a project. This is one of the projects that we have done at Bangalore Airport. On the left side, what we are trying to see, it's done in T1, the International Lounge. So it's a cafeteria. It's a large lounge that they have. We have done this vertical parametric partition, which is also seat from inside. From inside, it is basically a bench converting into a light and then small table as well. So it's a complete parametric design that we have done. But in this case, what you're also trying to see is the design which is actually flowing. It's not in a straight linear line, but it is also changing its angle at certain areas. So there is completely a curvilinear surface at the corners. The best thing is how do you try and fix these things at that place? If you see there are small spacers in between. The spacers are the things that help us out in terms of changing the angle of the panel. So, and how do you cut these things? All things are done using algorithmic calculations on softwares, then converting them into NC files, cutting them on these water jet machines, so that precise design, the spacers are cut so that you can place it in the right location, and then the turning angle happens and you execute your project. On the right, what you're trying to see is a design table that we have done, on which it's cut in metal, but the idea is not the metal, the idea is the marble which has been stacked on top of that. This marble is again cut using your water jet machine, and then it has been stuck onto this metal structure you're trying to see. So all these kind of complex geometries is something which you can try and build using this machine. Then comes a CNC machine. We all know what a CNC machine, because this is used on a large scale in the mechanical industry today. In the architectural industry, now people have trying to use these machines to do engraving panels. But the idea is using this machine is not for just making panels, but also you can do multiple things. Multiple things like if you have to, engrave a marble and do an inlay job in it. So here we are doing the line work in this. Then what you're also trying to see is there is a dual spindle machine which is actually cutting the same design twice. There are two spindles where you're trying to see that the machine is cutting the same design twice. So this increases the time period. Then what at the bottom, what we are trying to see is, it is also trying to cut a concrete block. This is a molding that we are trying to cut, which is basically an architrave of a window. So this is a design that you can also do. Then we have got a 4-axis machine, which is actually engraving concrete, where we are trying to build a wash basin. So all these things are possible using this tool. What else can we do? That also I'll explain. But on the right side, there's a lower bottom, what you're trying to see is, there are different kind of tools which are available. These are all your carbide tools. But again, tools are of various sizes and various details. The thicknesses of the tools are different. The sizes of the tools are different. The heights of the tools are different. The cutting length of the tool is different. Today, as an architect, what is happening is we don't know what the tools are all about. We just know to design. We just know what electricals are, plumbing are, and air conditioning is, because we think that that's the core area where we are trying to understand things, fit those things into our projects, and build our things. But the idea is not that. Today, everything has changed. We need to understand these machines in a better way. If you really want to do some stunning projects, 1 minute. Yeah. So what have we done by using this tool? Like, we have cut ply, stacked them. Then there's something called nesting. So this is a file. This is the place where we try and, we understand the basic economics of the structure. In this case, what we try and do is we nest the file into a limited number of sheets. Limited number of sheets means the number of sheets that we are trying to use to build this project. So this is a 12 feet long product that we had again designed for Bangalore Airport. It is a bench. It's a sculptural bench that we have designed, which is also a functional art. So, these ply were cut. They were stacked one above the other. Then they were grinded. The grinding could have also been done by the CNC machines, but we thought we will use the human labor so that, we get the project done in a much faster way, because there are other things which are also, going on aligned with in the factory. Then what we have done is, there is a new material that we tried to adopt today, which is a composite marble. We all know what a composite marble is, right? But in this case, in our case, what we have done is we have used the raw material of composite marble, and then we are spraying this composite marble onto our product. So what happens is, a wooden product is now getting converted into a stone product. Okay, so that's the next step that we can move further with. In this case, it is a jointless product. That means a stone can be a resin-based composite marble can be sprayed onto a wooden product, and a seamless product can be, delivered to your clients or wherever you're trying to, fit into. So this is something which you can also do. So it's completely spraying. So there is a research base to this, and there are minute, there are different kind of machines today that are available in the market, which we try and get into a factory where we try and do R&D so that, because when I'm saying composite marble, that means it is not just the liquids which is coming out. There is a marble powder as well of different, micron levels. There is different marble aggregates which pass through the nozzle, which again gets sprayed onto this product. So, okay, so that's how your composite marble comes into place. What else have we done? That's the outcome of the project, you can see. So this is how it looks like today when it is placed at the Bangalore Airport. Then the other projects that you can also do using these machines is, you can build your own sculptures. So we have made a sculpture. Then you can see at the lower level, you can see it's a door. It's a panel. It's a door panel, and you can engrave things. Then there is a center table. Then there are different blocks which were cut using CNC machines and made a different kind of panel. There is a vertical column that you can also see being stacked on top of there is a dining table where we have engraved a 14-inch thick log, and we have converted that into a leg of a dining table in the form of a fabric. And then the whole table is actually standing on those 4 small tips of that fabric. Getting that strength on the dining table is also very important. So all these calculations are necessary. That's the other part. But tools, how do they help us? Very important is the tools. Okay. What else have we done using the same CNC machine is, you can also see on the left, we have engraved kadappa. That's a spa that we're doing for a house. So that's kadappa. Again, a Brazilian granite was engraved and metal was inserted into it. There are your engraving panels again. On the right, you can see teak wood has been engraved, which is like a curtain again. A staircase that was designed using wooden logs, which was stacked one above the other. Again, cutting, again, engraving it. Here in this case, we have engraved using CNC machines. And those kind of staircases that you can see, completely technical, structurally stable. So these structures can also be executed today by using these kind of machines. So it becomes much easier today. Then what is the next machine that we have? The next machine that we have is your metal laser cutting machine. So where it is used, how it is used. Metal is something which we are also using in a large scale today, where the structural details comes into place. So metals like MS, brass, stainless steel, copper, aluminum, these are the materials that we can cut using this machine. This machine cuts up to 12 mm metal. Okay, 12 mm of your MS sheet, and it also cuts at a speed of almost 30 kilometers per hour. And that is also something which is necessary today, because economics plays a major role in today's architecture that we are trying to practice. So, doing facades, large facades, and you want to use metal, this is the machine that you need to use. Best thing is this machine, when you're using a 150 kilowatt machine, these machines cut metal only with air. When it goes above your 6 mm, then the gases come in. Like oxygen and your nitrogen are used only above 6 mm. So when you're cutting metal sheets which are of lesser thickness, then what happens is when you're cutting with air, your economics is, the cost of execution becomes too less. And that is also very important. What all have we made using this machine is, that's a parking building that I'm doing on the left, completely cut in metal, and it's just a 6 mm thick metal. 6 mm thick metal which gets converted into columns, which is like completely like a fluidic form. On the center, I'm doing a bungalow in Karnataka. This is in Kolar. Again, it's just a 20 mm thick slab where I've used 6 mm metal sheet cut into parabolic forms in a tessellated formations, taken it to site, cut them, weld them, and then we have created that building there. We're doing that building. What all you can do is you can also do installations like this. That's an installation that I did for ASTEC exhibition. So this is all metal. So when you're using a metal laser machine, what all you can do is something you can see right now. So these are the things that all the complex geometries that we're looking at today, being complex, it doesn't mean that we are only interested in complex geometries, but getting these complex geometries into place, into a usable space, into a functional space is very important. Because we are architects, we are not just sculpturists. Because these kind of forms that we are looking at they can be built. And the algorithms, the softwares, the computational programs, the digital technology gives us the flexibility today to get these designs in place and in a much economical way. The other machines which are also available is your CO2 non-metal laser machines. So what do these machines do? I mean, these machines cut veneer, MDF, acrylic, paper, and fabric. The best thing is they also do is they also engrave glass. They also engrave your tiles. They also engrave your granite. The engrave means if you want to chip off 1 mm of a top layer of a glass or your a metal or also your tile, then you can use this machine. This machine is widely used today in the architectural industry, especially in the colleges, where students usually make their models. That's what we tend to see today. But this machine also helps us design something like that. You can see a panel at the top. It's a back panel of a bedroom. Then we have also cut MDF to create that kind of a lobby design that you are trying to see. Then in one of the projects, we made a large model. It's a 120-meter long model. It's basically a wall panel, but it's a model that we have designed. So that is something which has also been installed, and by using this machine, we could get that thing in place. The other thing is your 3D printing machines. And these are the machines that we know that today 3D printing has been largely used by everyone today. I think majorly every student, I think every student today, a smaller printer is something which he might have procured and he or she is trying to use it at their residence, right? Because they are available today to you at that scale and they're also affordable. But the thing is, how to use 3D printing machines is again very important. We all think that 3D printing machines are just for prototypes. Yes, they are for prototypes, that is one. But you can also use them for building large prints and converting them into your structures. And that is something which is very important. That also is something which I'm going to show it to you. So by using 3D printing machines, what you've done is this is a dining table that we have done. So a complete dining table was designed. It was divided into multiple pieces. Then it was put into, depending upon the size of the machine, we divided that into multiple pieces. We also have got almost 70 3D printers at our facility. So multiple printers help us out in terms of getting the product in a much faster way. So we have printed all those things, multiple pieces, 16 pieces of this dining table, converted them in such a way that, we have fixed them on the top. What you can see is they are joined together Inside this is what we have inserted a metal rod so that there is a stability in it. And then we have poured your artificial marble into this mold. So we are using this 3D printed structure as a mold right now and not as the end product. So this is how you can develop your projects. Now, if you want to multiply the same dining table multiple times, I mean, you want to multiply, let us say you want to have 1,000 dining tables to be built so that your economics becomes much easier and you are interested in selling this product to large volume of people. Then what you need to do is you need to make a mold of this. So make a mold and then start casting it. So 3D printing is trying to help you out in terms of getting your design at the first product as a prototype or at a larger scale prototype in the first place, then make a mold of it and then multiply and make different projects. So what else have we done? Like you can see, there's a sofa that we have built. There are multiple sofas that we have designed, a bench. Then you can also see ceilings that have been designed, a chandelier that has been designed using 3D printing technology, a chair, a wash basin. So multiple things are possible today only by use of 3D printed outcomes. But the only thing, as I said, we are today trying to use 3D printing technology to create the first prototype, large scale 1:1 prototype, convert that into a mold and then do the end product. So that's how we are doing today. Because today the materials that we are trying to use, especially the materials, they really don't have that strength. So until unless we don't reach to those areas where, you know, the end outcome is also stable, structurally stable, till that time, I think we will still be doing all this. But once the stability comes into picture, probably then we'll go ahead with getting new ways, new things in place. Okay, then comes your concrete 3D printing. So concrete 3D printing is also something which is also at a hype today. So we are just trying to practice this out just to understand. People are doing concrete 3D printing on a large scale in some areas, but I feel that concrete 3D printing is something which we should be adopting only to build, you know, complex geometries again. When I'm saying complex geometries, see simple geometries, I don't think concrete 3D printing would be economical. If you're doing simple buildings like straight line buildings or a little tilt in the building, little corner curves into the building and we are trying to design, probably I think that's not the area that we need to look into. See, there are multiple concepts, there are multiple ways when we're looking at design. But right now, when we are talking about tools, tools is something we are all talking about in this session. When we are saying that tools, then I think how to use these tools is very important, where to use these tools is very important, and also whether these tools are really economical in terms of getting your end product. That is also very important. At multiple areas today, concrete 3D printing has failed when you're going for complex geometries. So still the idea of failure means the only thing is the material is not ready to set in a very short span of time. That's the area where we are trying to lag today. But I think sooner or later we'll come up with different solutions and we'll have different answers to build complex geometries as well and multiple story towers as well. Okay, so that's the practice that we are trying to do. Then we have a thermoforming machine. Thermoforming machine is also something again which can be largely used in the industry where we are trying to do facades. Because in facades we'll have repetitive objects. So that's where you can get this thing in place. You know, thermoforming is something where you have got two different set of machines. One is a heater and one is a compressor which has got a suction thing. With a platform, the top platform goes up and then you put your mold inside. The materials are such as WPC, that is wood plastic composite, or solid surfaces, which we call it as Korean, or acrylics. These are the materials when you put into the heat, inside the heater, they change their texture, they change their properties, they become, very flexible. Take that material, put it onto a mold inside this vacuum suction chamber, and then suck out the air so that you can get a design that you're looking at, the mold that you're trying to put at. What have we done? So we have built, that's the process of the vacuum suction. That's the machine, that's the mold that we have put. And then this is a rail plywood, which is a wood composite material. So which has been put, after putting into the heater, it has been put onto the mold and then the outcome is what you're trying to see. So that's the final process. So what have we done? We have tried to create a ceiling in one of our interior projects. On the right, what you're trying to see, it is a lampshade. So that lampshade is done in acrylic. We have engraved the acrylic using your CO2 machine, then put it onto your on a mold into a suction chamber and got that design output. And just put LED strip at the bottom so that you can create different kind of lampshades as well. They're very simple, but complex geometries again. Okay, so things like this have been also done. Then we have got robotic arms at our place what are we trying to do is today we are just trying to work with robotic arms where we are just trying to understand how 3D printing can take to a next level. So here in this case, what we are trying to use is we are trying to use a robotic arm to 3D print by using injection molding. So that is something which is a new thing. Here in this case, what we are trying to do is we are using pellets where your execution can happen using rather than having your these wires. We are trying to use pellets as the raw material because using pellets, your cost of the material reduces. Hence, your outcome can be much cheaper. Part one. In this case, what we are also trying to do is we are also trying to print 12 mm thick. Okay, but this is not my facility. This is a facility which is there at Bangalore. Okay, so we are trying to just send our drawings to them, try and understand how these things can be executed. So in this case, what is happening is the printer is actually printing 12 mm thick and a 4 mm thick layer. So print is becoming much faster, and also we are also achieving the stability of the structure now, but not the structural stability, but the product stability. So that's good that we are trying to understand new things now. So these are multiple materials that I've shown you today. So then comes our office, how it runs, on what kind of machines it runs, and what kind of softwares we use. This is something, I mean, on the left, what you see is we are using softwares like Rhino, Grasshopper, Blender, 3D Max. These are the tools where we design our things, sculpt our things, and detail our things. Whether it is a building facade, whether it is an architectural building, or a product that we are trying to do, or an installation that we are trying to do. These are the three softwares that we are trying to use today in our office. Then there comes your Nest Fab, then Cura, Desk Proto, ArtCam, Mastercam, and RoboCam. So the Nest Fab or the Solid Edge, what you're trying to see is this is a program where your material distribution is done. When you're trying to do layering, contouring on the slabs that we procure, let us say if it is a marble slab of 5 feet by 8 feet. So you have a size of the slab. And what we do is after the object contouring is done, those contours are placed into this software, and we make sure that there is less wastage of material which we are trying to cut, whether it is marble or wood. Your Desk Proto, ArtCam, Mastercam, and RoboCam, these are your tools, even Cura. These are tools which basically generate the NC files. When I'm saying NC files, these are the tools which actually convert your designs into numerical calculated files, and they actually speak to your machines and make the machines run so that these projects are cut in a proper way and they deliver it to you. So this is what the software part is all about. On the right, all the machines that I've tried to show you. Your power tools is something which is locally used by everyone. Then you have got CNC machines, that is 3-axis, 4-axis, and a rotary. Then we have got water jet, metal lasers, non-metal lasers, thermoforming machines, then 3D printing machines, then robotics. Over and above all these is what we have a manual process. Today we have not entered into that area that you can get your end product only by working with machines. Manual process is needed. Manual process is the place where we are trying to grind, fix, screw, so that your end product is made, and then we do the painting and polishing. So the whole process of using the tools is this. Okay, so I end my session by showing you all these tools. At the back, there will be slides which will be running around, which will be my projects that you can keep on seeing. And now it is over to you so that you can ask your questions.
Fantastic, sir. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Slideshow will be on, so you can see the projects which are going on. It will be a slideshow. But
okay, we'll keep talking. Yeah, we'll keep talking. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for not only introducing us to the possibilities by using various kinds of machines from water jet to metal cutting laser machines to non-metal machines, robotics, and also 3D printing, thermoforming, so on and so forth. I think on one end, you have given us the use cases of what can be the outcome, and not just an outcome, but an exciting outcome like the way you have represented here. On the other hand, this is a very, very strong pitch for those who are interested in developing these kinds of designs, these kinds of functionally usable designs in various situations and for various clients across the country, across the world. I think it's a great pitch to get into this kind of a field. Amazing, sir. Thank you so much for introducing. And there's a lot that's happening in this area as we understand at this point in time. I am very happy that a large number of people have joined for this session, and they hail from all kinds of sectors. They are from manufacturing, they are from technology, they are from education, they are from media, they are from, of course, architecture. There are students and teachers of architecture. We are also joined by Professor Munawar Pasha Mohammed. Welcome, sir. And a large number of other people who have joined. I welcome all of them. So one request is be ready with your questions. We are going to have two clusters of Q&A now. The first cluster will be taken up by Professor Prasad. I'll come back for second cluster. During the second cluster, the members in the audience can raise their hand and we'll open the mic so that you can directly talk to the speaker, Mr. Krishnamurthy. Okay. Now I request Professor Prasad to start cluster number 1. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Professor Rao. Thank you, sir, for introducing us to the current innovations, developments, possibilities in the field of architecture. Very relevant because, I mean, in today's world, this is one area where India can do a lot, and we have a lot of aspiring students as well. And what we need to do perhaps will come up in the questions. But let me begin, sir, by asking you some broad questions. Currently, when you look at Indian architects and the clientele, where do you see the adoption of technology? What are the issues involved?
See, I don't think there are any issues provided if we learn them out. And the only thing is, the problem is we are not in a position to basically learn from the institutes itself. Okay, that's the area where we are actually lagging. Today, the industry is willing to spend because clienteles are there, the projects are huge, the projects are no more, I mean, an individual architect can design and build, the projects are huge now today, right? So it's a team of collaborations that is needed today. So people coming from different areas, not only, there are multiple architects together can come on a table to design one project. So there are multiple things that is possible today. But over and above all this, technology is something which we all need to understand that how it can help out. Because since AI as a tool which has entered into our design fraternity in last 1 year, it has really taken us for a toss, and it is also trying to tell that we are no more just the architects and the designers. We are not the only guys in the industry who can design, but everybody, every person, including a small kid, can design today by creating a prompt, right? So everyone is an architect today. So the idea is, if everybody is an architect, then where are we standing as educators, as the people who are professionals in the industry, as consultants? We are standing here to execute these designs, basically, right? Because we are technically correct, we are technically perfect, because we can understand the aesthetics of the design. That's one, we can understand the proportions of the design and the technical part of the design. And over and above, if we learn the tools to a much bigger extent, then we can also execute these things in a much better way. So hence, I don't think that there is a problem in terms of the clientele positioning at all, because projects have increased, people are ready to spend in India today. People are ready to understand that understand and get the research into their own homes, into their own buildings. Today, that flexibility has started. Of course, it is at a smaller stage. We are still dependent upon the foreign technology. We are not building our own machines today. We are not so much powerful in terms of building our own tools the way we want to. We are still dependent upon getting these tools from the other countries, from our neighboring countries like China or from Europe, right? We're still dependent on them for both your machineries and the tools as well. But I think slowly things are picking up. We don't have to worry. At large, if these things can start from the institutes itself, then probably it will be very easy to change the so-called practicing architects and the scenario the way they are building today, right? So that has to start from the early stage itself. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just ask a supplementary on that. If you have to look at how the Indian architectural scenario is, I mean, leave alone the institutions compared to the other countries, where does it stand in terms of adoption of technology?
I think we're just picking up. We're a little slow. We are a little slow. If you're looking at, I'll complete this in just one statement. See, today, I think 25 years back or 30 years back when I was in the institute, I mean, exactly 1992 is when I joined architecture. Till 97, when I just came out from the college, AutoCAD was something which just started. It started in, I think, 94. people were just trying to understand AutoCAD. And we were adopting AutoCAD, right? Then there are multiple softwares which have come in. The Rhino has come in today. People have been working with Google SketchUp and all. But the biggest problem today is earlier the time span of the college was 5 years, right? And still we are working with 5 years of a span. But today we are using technology. We are using softwares. The span is huge. I mean, the time span 365 days into 5. I mean, even the master's course can be done within that time span. But still, we are working with the same ideology as earlier that we used to work with. And by the time the students come out, I think 90% of the institutes are not giving them the flexibility to the students to understand this technology and design. They're just giving them as if it is not mandatory, but you can learn the tools. That is how it has been presented. I think that's the area where we need to correct. If we could do that, then I think we can catch up much faster. So we are running at a slower pace. Now, I think since last 1 year, I'm also been associated with council now. Since 1 year, we are trying to catch up and tell the institutes that start changing the way you're looking at teaching the students today. Let's adopt new technology so that newer things can be adopted by the students also, and we can really deliver right things to the industry in the form of students, right? So that's what the people are looking at. It's catching up now, but we are slow. That is something which all need to look into.
Thank you very much. Let me move to the next question. There are many public projects where impact matters and can be differentiated as well. I mean, including very large ones like the PM Awas Yojana and the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. The numbers are huge. And how do you view the impact of technology usage by architects in such projects from an outcome point of view? Can you throw some light on that?
I think that's the biggest area that we can really look into. It's because these projects, the amount of funding that takes place in these kind of projects is huge. But today, on the name of Swachh Bharat, we have landed up only painting our bridges, painting the columns of the bridges, and painting the facades. That's what we are looking at today. I think that's the sad part of the whole scenario. But I think this is the area where many of the architects and many of the artists, especially the architects and the artists, they can collaborate together, especially the Swachh Bharat area where we're looking at. That's the area where, probably the artists and the architects, they can come together, collaborate and do things in a much better way by using technology. Because technology can literally help them out in terms of, changing the scenario of the public projects that we are looking at. Right? Public projects are something which also build culture. That's very important. The kind of culture that we are trying to build, the kind of details that we are trying to produce today. I mean, it's sad that we are not instigating the public by giving them really good projects. We are not putting them. The platter is absolutely dead. We're just giving them some colors and some two-dimensional images to them, and we are telling them, and we are also selling them as art to them. See, we need to instigate people. People, when they see this public art or public installations which are around their spaces, they should get inspired from them. The inspiration is lost today. If you go onto the streets, there are no good islands that we try and see. There are no good public spaces where we are trying to, if you go to Barcelona, let us say, right, Spain. I mean, we go there to see public spaces. Do we have those kind of public spaces now in India today? By use of technology has gone to a larger aspect, but are we using them in our projects? No. Because I think there are multiple scenarios, there are different kind of gradations in this industry where, to get a project, who is appointing whom, what kind of a project that we are looking at. And majorly in the Swachh Bharat thing, what we are also trying to see is we are all trying to see copy-paste projects. The sculptures that are put on all the notes that we are looking at, everything is a copy-paste. Copy-paste from the Pinterest. They select those Pinterest images. They catch up local vendors, local artists who can fabricate them by using molds, right? The fiber molds. And they build these things and install it on the public spaces. And gets junior artists and they paint the walls. I don't know what we are achieving today by doing this. I think in the public section area, new methods have to be adopted. Technology can really help us out. Technology can absolutely help us out. But somewhere down the line, I think forums like this can help sending a message to right people, where probably people can connect, understand that how technology, I mean, this kind of designs that I'm trying to show you in the background, all these kind of designs can be produced, which can build a different kind of a culture today, different kind of a scenario today, where the local brains, right, the public that who are moving into the spaces, the local brains, they can get instigated by seeing these kind of designs. They can also feel that yes, these kind of designs we build. If we are seeing that in India, some person like me as an architect or as a designer is building, why can't they build it? Why can't they get in touch with me, learn from me, and then they build in their own spaces? Why can't they do it? We are at large scale today, right? Funds are not a problem at all, but unfortunately, there are certain areas that probably we can't go or cross certain barriers, because of which there is a lag in the communication system, and we are trying to build unwanted and unreasonable things which are not even seeing a period of 1 year. This public art that we are looking at, the Swachh Bharat thing, I think after every year we are trying to change. So that means that the concept of building a culture is also not happening. Our art is actually not inspiring, the art is not actually innovative, the art is not connecting with people. Hence, we are trying to change this art periodically after every year. Why we have to go to do that? That's part one. Second one, we are also talking about smart cities. We need to understand that, rather than building smart cities, we as people should become smart first. If we are really smart, we are educated, we are qualified, then I think the cities will automatically become smarter. So I think that's the area where we are also lagging. So technology, yes, if you start adopting technology, start understanding technology as architects. As an architect, I'm just trying to say that if you're trying to adopt all this, probably see at a smaller scale, we all know that the architectural practices, how they are defined, how they grow, what are the problems that we all try and face. But still doing this practice, I'm trying to adopt technology. All the machines that I've tried to show today, they are a part of my studio. Okay, so we have got more than 120 machines in our studio today. So building a studio with machines and then doing our projects, it's not an easy thing, right? Hence, if large volume of people could adopt this technology, then I think places like Swachh Bharat, the public spaces that we are all trying to work with, and also the public projects, especially all our toll booths that we are trying to see today, right? These are the toll booths which actually tell which area you are actually belonging to and what kind of a design scenario that we can build, because there are large projects. The other thing is railway stations. This is something again we are not looking at. Again, we have those same typical style of design. And moreover, we are today also trying to copy our heritage and say that these are timeless designs. That is something which we also need to look into. We are just copying our classical heritage designs, and then we adopt that design and use different kind of materials. And in today's world, where we are in the 21st century, we are trying to redefine those same things again in the same way. And we are happy doing that. So I think a correction is needed. It will happen sooner or later.
Thank you. I think we are at about 7:15. There are more questions. I'll hand it back to Professor Rao.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. That's a wonderful conversation that we have embarked on with instigating designs in public places. I think art inspiring people, architecture changing the culture. These are the kind of things that we need to discuss on this platform, and that's being discussed. I'm very happy, sir. Sir, one question I have, there are many questions, as we said, we need to pick and choose. The one question that I would like to request you to help us is that I'm sure you would have visited Hampi. Hampi is a place where there are remnants of structures which are lookalikes of a temple, structures which are relics of kind of a structure that looks like an animal, that looks like various religious figures, looks like structures that are part of a temple. All of them are demolished or half remains that we see. Okay, sir. Now, isn't it a perfect opportunity for us as a country to apply AI and 3D printing and rebuild it? Because there is anyway a partial structure readily available there. The entirety is not wiped out. Instead of showing the remains, instead of ruining over the past, can we not rebuild and create a wonderful showcasing infrastructure for tourism as well? And also the lost architecture, culture, heritage, so on and so forth. Your comments, sir.
Absolutely, why not? I mean, why not? That's in fact a huge space, which is also it's a World Heritage Site, right? And the kind of In fact, when I go to Hampi, what I get inspired is the surrounding areas of the Hampi. The kind of rocks that are around Hampi, the scale from a miniature scale to a larger scale, and the way they are balanced, the way every piece of a stone has got its own gravitational force towards the earth, and the way they express themselves in the open sun, right? And especially the shadows and the way the light plays the major role when you're trying to move around these spaces, right? So there, I mean, Hampi itself is like it's a big open space, it's a big public space for all of us to get inspired. Actually, you don't have to do anything. Logically speaking, you don't have to do anything if you really want to get inspired. Whenever if you feel depressed, just go there and just stay there for 5-10 days, just roam around those jungles, the stone jungles. I think when you come back, you'll be refreshing, right? That's something you can actually see there. Of course, it's a big site to work with. I think the multiple minds that are needed to come together, because it's not just a heritage structure, but there is a good amount of detailing that has to be regenerated, right? Keeping in the context of what people might like after 100 years and probably what has happened few 100 years back. So starting from those few 100 years back to probably few 100 years ahead of times, what is the new style of architecture that can be developed that we're trying to see? If we can really connect from that to this and try and show the transition of architecture, then I think we can really build new things in life. Tell people that, architecture has got its own values when it moves from one era to the other. So that transition can be shown. What we are trying to see is an absolute full stop to your Hampi today, because we have not done anything. We have just retained the ruins and we have kept them as it is. We have not really developed them further. We have not even touched them. Of course, we have touched them to keep them safe. We have safeguarded our heritage, but we're not doing anything about it. So that's the problem. We all go there, we click pictures, we get them back, we do some selfie points, we do some reels and post them, but we're not doing anything about it, right? So probably these forums, I mean, the forum that you have put across, these kind of questions, probably if they are sent together on a larger platform, people come together to discuss. And then if they really feel that, this can be talked about and certain things can be put onto table, right? And understand that how these can be revived back, keeping in mind the scenario of future, not just reviving as it is, but also getting technology, especially the new ways of we are trying to use sunpath, climatology that we are trying to use, the design compositions that we are trying to build today using AI tools. All these things can integrate, they can be collaborated together to build a new future for us itself, just in Hampi, right? So multiple things can happen.
Yes. Amazing, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for the idea that, using technology to showcase the transition of architecture, which is very much possible in sites like Hampi and various other places around the country as well. Thank you, sir. Second question that I see is whenever we visit countries like Dubai or Qatar, we find a no holds barred kind of a design that is in display in their structures, buildings that we come across throughout their countries. What would have actually happened between, say, countries like what I named, Dubai and that is UAE and of course Qatar, and a country like India? What kind of catapulting they have taken, because of which they landed in wonderful skyscapes and the buildings that inspire and would like to actually move around and drive around, whereas it's not the case in India.
See, I think India has got multiple problems in itself. There are multiple areas that we're all trying to work with. There are multiple industries also which are around where we're all tied up with. But if you're looking at Dubai or UAE, I think they are all completely dependent on oil, one, and second is your tourism, right? How do you attract tourism? To attract tourism, I think you have to really give them something absolutely out of the world products, right? Then only you can attract people. So that's what they try to do. So they try to encash or probably build those kind of designs where they could attract tourists to their place and get inspired from the spaces that they're trying to build. So hence, I think these are the new era designs that we are trying to all talk about, especially where we're looking at Zaha Hadid coming in and then, she deriving a new dimension to architecture. And we all get fascinated with that. Then she also opened up these new areas where we are all trying to biomimic nature. We're all trying to mimic nature in design. So these are all nature-inspired designs, but using tools like, computational programs, we are trying to build these things. today. And she has really changed the texture of how to get these things in place, right? So many other architects who got the opportunity took the advantage of getting inspired from these kind of designs. And especially when Dubai just started up with Dubai or UAE, if they started up with these, they started floating these new projects, they got the help in terms of, building all those unimaginable designs at place. Today, I think the way the world has moved much faster in last 1.5 years, I think we suddenly feel that Dubai is nothing. There are much beautiful designs can also be built, right? So things are changing again. Just imagine last 15 years, Dubai was standing tall, thinking that they are the best architecture is built there. But now if you start looking at China coming up with new projects, their infrastructure, the kind of buildings that they are trying to come up with, I think that's amazing. Now, instead of Dubai, I think many people will start moving to China. Tourism has been shifted to China today, in today's context, to see especially the infrastructure and the buildings that they're trying to promote. So things are happening, things are changing. India, we are still a little behind in terms of understanding and adopting technology. We are still moving at different paces. We have got multiple problems. We are trying to solve problems starting from your religious problems to your cultural problems, then education problems, then political problems, your local, the development authority problems, multiple things. So, we are trying to go slow. It will take time. This can only pace up if we erase our stupid memories and just say that, there's nothing behind, restart. Then I think probably we can see a new world. Correct. That's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. The way, we all put a halt at COVID, right? We all put up a halt at COVID and thought, let's restart things. Let's re-understand things. But I think 1 year, 1.5 years, we all face the problems. But again, we are back to the same. We have not learned anything from COVID, right? So, stopping yourself and doing nothing for a year and then restarting with new ideas, new thought process could have been changed the way we are presenting or probably doing our things. But we did not do it. We have started doing the same things. Again and again, we're repeating those things. And we're repeating those things in a much bigger way because today we have surpassed COVID. We have seen the deadliest thing. So we feel that, people who have survived, they think that, they are stronger and still they are adopting the same way and then they're moving ahead. I think it's a matter of time. There are a few people still thinking to move forward, and because of which I think we can see new things in the industry today. A few people, of course, 10% of the people are really struggling to adopt new things and also teach people. Also tell people that let's do it. Even though it's a very hard way, but still people are trying to understand that, come together and let's educate ourselves and build new architecture. People are adopting. It will take time. India, it will take time. Absolutely, it will take time.
It will take time. Yes, sir. Yes. And also the learnings that we have had during the COVID phase should be taken forward. That's a very good message. Sir, one more related question, and then I'll request members in the audience to raise their hand. This question is basically to clarify my own understanding of cityscaping. For example, when you drive over, if you're in Hyderabad, for example, when you drive over the PV Narasimha Rao flyover to the airport, the buildings on either side should have a particular aesthetic style and sense, or buildings around the waterfront have to actually communicate a particular method and theme. All these things, do architects work with the government or government works with architects? How it happened in other countries? What is the lesson for us from that particular phenomenon, sir?
That's a very complicated subject. It's a very complicated subject because urbanscape is again something which works at a larger level.
Okay.
Right. We need to, today, if I'm looking at Mumbai, right, Mumbai is also a redeveloping city today. I'm wondering, we are going to probably redevelop the redeveloped city now. So probably that's the word that we have to use, because we are not redeveloping the Mumbai, keeping in mind the future, what we're going to see. We are just building individual plots. Probably, if you're talking about the PV Narasimha Rao Bridge and the cityscape around, I think chunk of large lands have to be taken together and then they have to be re-detailed out, re-layouted. And then the urbanscape has to be, done with a proper intention of saying that, the city should be connected from one end to the other through landscapes only. Probably that can be a solution. There could be walkways, there could be cycle tracks connecting from one end of the city to the other end of the city without any crossovers, right? So chunk of lands on a larger way, the government has to take the initiative that let us say 500 acres or let us say 10 hectares or 50 hectares of land coming together, they redesign that detail out, and every urban scape related situation has to be redesigned, and it has to be followed properly with an intention, right? Whether it is roads, whether it is public spaces that we are looking at, whether it is gardens that we are looking at, whether we are also looking at traffic islands, or a matter of fact, your shopping markets that we are looking at. All these things have to be thought keeping in mind the density of the population of that space and how you are going to move from one space to the other without any disturbance and also in a sustainable way. That is something that we need to look into. But I think that can only happen provided ideas are put into a level where we are all trying to say, get different minds into place. How can this happen? This can happen only by way of competitions. If the government comes up and says that let us come out with a competition saying that, how can we think about or present a left side of your PV Narasimha Rao bridge from one end to the other end. Let us come out with new ideas, put those ideas in the public forum. Let people decide what they want. Right. Let people decide what they want, whether a certain kind of a design, certain kind of a detail that has to be adopted. See, there might be 1,000 architects coming out, or 1,000 artists or 1,000 designers for the matter of coming out with n number of design solutions. We can pick good designs from all these contenders and then probably present it to the public, put it in the public forum. Let us take their their questions and their answers, and then probably give city the best thing possible. So that is how we can develop our cities. But unfortunately, these things are not happening. Everything is happening in closed doors. So that's the unfortunate thing. And they only drive the cities. They build the cities, and end of the day, we landed up seeing our cities in this way today. So that's the problem.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your detailed response. It talks about the crowdsourcing of ideas and also applying a little bit of design thinking in terms of making it acceptable to large number of people. We find the stalwart here in this picture. Sorry, sir. So I have another question before which Dr. Anita has raised her hand. This is about how do you incorporate Vastu into your designing, sir? Do you actually follow that, and is it difficult to incorporate Vastu into all kinds of fluidic designs that you have been doing, more like a sculptor or, of course, an architect with a sculpture kind of designs incorporating Vastu? Is it too complicated a subject?
Initially, I thought it was a complicated, but now I don't think so, because even the Vastu consultants have started adopting this style of architecture today, especially coming up with new remedies and new design solutions, new guidelines. Vastu is also changing its dimension with respect to the kind of designs that we are trying to build. So right now, I'm not facing. Earlier, I think some 3-4 years back, I was facing some problems with the Vastu consultants. But when I'm trying to build these things, when clients are adamant that yes, these kind of designs is something they want, Vastu consultants are coming up with new ideas, the way they can adopt this nature of a building and still give a remedy to this kind of a structure, right? So I think I'm not facing problems as such right now. In few of the projects we had, but we got good solutions immediately, so that there are no problems with it. So I think that's okay.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. I'll request Dr. Anita Raman to ask you that question that she wanted to ask.
Thank you, Professor Rao and Professor Prasad, for organizing such a wonderful, lecture. Thank you so much, sir. It's mind-boggling to see the designs that you have created and the way that, the solutions that you have brought in by integrating various facets is really fascinating. The question that I have is, continuing what Dr. Sudhakar was saying, that how do you seamlessly integrate various stakeholders like, architects, then your R&D, roads and buildings, and the government and the public at large to come together to design a new facet or a fresh look to each of the spaces? Do you think a separate governing body or some kind of an initiative or a platform should come in, which will integrate even the transport solutions, the aesthetics, the design, every perspective into it? And what is the role of our academic institutions in such kind of contribution?
I think the major role is from the academics, major role. I think academic is something which we need to look into. Unfortunately, today, I think academics is actually losing its control. We are not following new guidelines. We are not coming up with innovative approaches in terms of teaching the kids and driving them to a new level. It's very unfortunate. So how do we do that? I mean, it can only happen provided there is, as you said, rightly, new governing bodies have to be formed to understand how cities can be built, especially people coming from different areas, right? Because I think throughout our generation, what we have learned is cities are something which has really developed cultures, which has actually taught people what traditions are all about, which has also told us what religion is all about today, right? So cities make a major impact on human brains. But unfortunate is this, as we were also asking about a question of Vastu. Vastu can't be similar to every person, right? Vastu can't be same to every person. It all completely depends. It is a science. It is a science, but it has got its own variations. Similarly, every building, every space, every area has got its own aesthetical value, right? So we need to understand that the governing bodies have to be appointed in every section of the country in a different way, so that they come together and probably revive this whole situation that we are actually passing through. So that is something which we need to understand. But this can only happen, I mean, as I also said, colleges or schools, the education area is something which has to be tackled in a much bigger way. I mean, all the practicing people, many professionals who are really good in the profession, I think they have to dedicate some amount of time, not to fetch money or something of that sort, but they need to come to colleges, to the institutes, share their experiences and their thought process to the education area, so that we inspire them in a much bigger way. We inspire them in a much bigger way and probably build those things, right? And build a new culture, adopt a new culture, and also build a new culture. That is something which we need to do. But I think, as I said, in India today, we are going very slow, absolutely slow. But I hope that, things change sooner or later.
Thank you so much, sir, for your response. If I may add one more question with your permission.
Yeah.
One is, you have designed fabulously. Now, if someone wanted to connect to you at an individual level, how would we connect to get the designs? And some entrepreneurs, for instance, they wanted to come and connect with you. Would you be able to help them as to, give a roadmap, or, how do we take it forth to help the public at large?
See, absolutely. I mean, I'm open to all the institutes today. I'm also adopting interns. That's one thing which we are also looking at. The other thing what we're also trying to do is, there are architectural firms which are coming to us, where we are trying to guide them, help them out, and also we are trying to use our setup and build their projects. So that is something which we are doing. We are in the public forum. People can come to us. There is no restriction at all. There is no restriction at all. So you can approach us at any given period of time. You can take down the numbers. You can follow us on Instagram. So we don't have a website, but I'm on Instagram. I keep uploading my stuff all the time. So you can connect me through Instagram, because that's the area where I can connect to a large volume of people, talk to them in different ways. People start questioning me in different ways to understand what kind of materials that I'm trying to work with today. So I keep answering them, and that's a very easy thing. That's a simple platform. And since we keep carrying our mobile all the time, and somehow or the other throughout the day, at least I think we all spend, especially I spend more than an hour on Instagram. So I keep seeing messages, I keep uploading things. So it becomes easy for me to send a message across to the people that what kind of work I'm trying to do. And I'm open to you guys that you can come to me, right? You can come to me at any given period of time, just take an appointment. We have a factory setup, complete factory setup. You can come there with your teams, sit there. Also what we also do is, every year we are also conducting workshops. Okay, we conduct workshops either in June, July, or August. We conduct workshops for almost 6 days a year in one stretch. And in that workshop, we teach all these tools, especially the softwares, and also we teach fabrication technologies. That is something which we do a lot, and we have been doing since last 3 years. This year, it will be the 4th year. We have to probably upload now. You can see the slides at the back that I'm trying to show it to you. So we keep doing this thing. We invite international architects to Mumbai. They come to our place, our facility. They sit here and they teach. So it's a big thing that they do. They teach for completely 6 days. This year we had almost 120 students coming from all over India. They were architects and students also. Okay, they were architects and students also. So we had Brian coming down, then we had Andrew Spalfinger, and then we had Carlos Bannon. And I was there teaching them how to fabricate the stuff. So this was a complete package. These people were teaching these computational tools and also trying to tell people that, how the other part of the world is looking at adopting new things and also collaborating new things. So things are happening. Things are happening. That's what we are trying to do. So we are, as far as possible, we are trying to put our foot into the area and tell people that we are open to everyone. You can drop in. And this 6 days of workshop, generally instigates everyone and opens up that broader perspective to people to enter into this field and adopt this field. So that is something which we are trying to do and build a different kind of a community now.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Great initiative. God bless and take it forward.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. We have another question, another hand going up. But in the meantime, sir, this is a great introduction to us in terms of knowing the large number of tools that are available, softwares that are available, the fabrication of designs that you have made with a huge amount of creativity that is on display. I think it's a wonderful session. We would like to thank you very much for your valuable time, expertise, and also your urge to inspire people. I think it has done a great deal of good for us. A large number of students and people from the field who have joined are also inspired, and I'm sure they will connect with you. They'll write to you. We'll share your email ID, or they can actually go to the Instagram and interact with you on a regular basis, on a daily basis as well. And if possible, those workshops that you have listed out, I think they can also look out for the schedules and join the workshops. Those are conducted in Bombay. So thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful time. We have learned a great deal. And on behalf of everyone who have joined today, we would like to thank you for this opportunity and for this wonderful session. Thank you so much, sir. Professor Prasad, you have any last comment, and then we can wrap it up.
Yeah, in fact, I had a question.
Oh, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
See, what we have found in the discussion is that there is a gap in thinking. It started with the public spaces thing, and then it came up with a large host of problems that we face as a country. So if you have to take some principles out of architecture, and there is automation, there is technology, no doubt, but there is also individual creativity involved. And particularly, one of those statements that you've made is that each person has a personalized way in which philosophy in which they do their work. Architects. Now, if you want to do that in whoever is going to look at these projects, there needs to be an integration of the thinking. There's a problem with the thinking, and that needs to integrate with technology. So what kind of principles would you suggest to start with for educational institutions? Principles on which they can bring in this sort of thinking into their education?
See, it's a very simple way of getting an answer to this question. We all see that today, the kind of institutes that we are trying to see abroad, especially the AA or the IAC or the SIAC today, the Cambridge University or the Harvard University, the way they are trying to adopt new methods to teach students, right? We are trying to see all this. It's not that we don't know. The only thing is we are lagging behind in terms of, the major problem is the finances today. Every architect, what happens is there are many colleges which have opened up throughout India. Last week I was at Trivandrum. I heard that in Kerala itself there are 24 colleges. Okay. And the teachers who are teaching there, have just completed masters, few of them, and they're teaching masters. They're also teaching PhD students, right? Post-graduation students. There are teachers who have just passed out and they have joined the college to teach, right? Now, this is a scenario where we are all facing that, because number of colleges coming up, even the colleges want staff to teach in their institutes, but the lack of experience. The students who are coming out, there's a big lack of experience within them to teach back the students. So this is what we are looking at, and mind you, this is the same scenario that I think few of the international colleges are also following. So there is a problem there also. It's not here itself, but this kind of a problem is there also. But few institutes are very rigid on taking measures to only adopt those teachers, those kind of staff members or teachers that we are looking at who are fully experienced in all the fields. Separate people coming together, collaborating, and the institution takes care of all of them in all the ways. One, second, connecting with the industry, which is also important, which probably now it has started taking up. Third, also doing a lot of workshops. See, today we are all open up to online. We are doing an online session right now. We are all open to online sessions, right? We can get people from abroad who can really teach us today in our institutes, right? And online sessions can happen, and they have to happen on a large scale. If they can happen on a larger scale today, I think things can change. See, you can see the slide, what I've written there. Are we future ready? Correct. Are we really future ready? If we want to, then what is it that we want to adopt? Sustainability, copying things, doing what we have already done, they are really good. But new aesthetics have to be brought into, new details have to be brought into. Technology is moving faster. But all these things have to be adopted at the first place, which is the institution, the college, the education. That's where things will change. And probably we as architects may also go back to the education and tell us that, we also want to learn things, right? That's the area we all should look up to. As I said, every professional who has grown up or practiced for almost 30 years in the industry should go back to the college and probably dedicate, whichever college he belongs to, probably he or she can go back to their own college and probably teach there. Maybe not teach regularly, but on a visiting basis, they can go and inspire. But even institutes have to help them out, because many times institute and the management, they don't come together and there are multiple problems. So we are all facing the same thing. So multiple problems are there, but we need to overcome. So education is the prime factor where we all have to enter into and do the correction. If the correction happens, I think we'll all grow together.
Thank you. Thank you. You have been reiterating right from the beginning that a long-term solution will come if the education is set right. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for making the education institutions, the schools of architecture, as the epicenters of change, innovation, and inspiration for all of us, and the kind of change that we would like to see in our cities and our own designs and innovations that we see in our regular use as well. Thank you so much, sir. I want to once again thank you on behalf of all the participants this evening. The time well spent on a Friday evening, and that's what we do usually on WiseViews platform. And we can't thank you enough for adorning us with your lecture, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Is it possible for you to share a copy of your presentation, sir?
I will do that. I will email it to you.
Kindly email, sir. We'll write a summary of the session and we'll share it with you. And once you approve, we'll upload along with the video, along with the video, we'll do the text as well as a summary.
Sure, absolutely, I'll do that.
Thank you, sir. All of you have a great weekend and a wonderful next week when we come back to you with another leader. We are going to meet Shri KJ Alphonse, another leader from public space, and we would love to understand what is the formula of winning in various fields and various fronts that we actually go through in our daily life. So look forward to meeting you on March 14th at around 4 p.m. or so. Thank you all. Good night.